The days of taking off your shoes at the airport are coming to an end, or at least being required to take those shoes off. The Homeland Security Department announced today it will be ending its nearly 2-decade-old policy that requires passengers to remove their shoes at regular security checkpoints. Travelers with TSA PreCheck, which requires an application and clearance process, already do not have to take their shoes off. Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem spoke about the policy shift during a press conference at Reagan International Airport in Virginia.
We've gone back and evaluated this process and how we screen individuals and looked at the efficacy of it and making sure that everything that we do matters. And if it is something that is beneficial, that helps us in the screening process, we will continue to do it.
CBS News senior transportation correspondent Kris Van Cleave joins us now from Los Angeles International Airport. Kris, very good to see you. Remind us a little bit about when this rule went into effect and what's behind this sudden shift now?
Sure. So 2006, the take your shoes off at the checkpoint rule went into effect, and it followed an incident that actually happened in late 2001, where Richard Reed, the so-called shoe bomber, managed to get on an American Airlines flight from Paris bound for Miami with explosives in his shoe. He attempted to set off that explosive to blow up the airplane, but was unsuccessful and was subdued by passengers on that plane. He's currently serving 3 life sentences plus 110 years in federal prison. But that showed off a vulnerability in aviation security, was that there was not a way to spot explosives hidden in shoes easily, so they had to go through the X-ray machine. Over the last 19 years, the technology at checkpoints like this one has changed significantly. As people go in the general security line go through these body scanners, those machines are believed to be much more adept at spotting a potential explosive. But also, there are unseen layers of security, a layered approach that goes into this that includes vetting of flyers when they buy the ticket, long before they even get to the airport, to identify people who may warrant extra screening. And certainly if you're selected for secondary screening, or if your shoes set off the alarm when they go through the metal detector or the body scanner, you could still be asked to remove those. But the argument here is basically, as technology has evolved, it's less necessary to have everyone take their shoes off. And in getting rid of this policy, it should speed up the checkpoints and reduce wait times for folks, particularly in the standard lanes.
Kris, that's not the only policy shift that's been happening. Did Secretary Noem talk a little bit about how Real ID implementation has gone as well?
Yeah, there was a lot of concern about how this would go because you had many states that were lagging far behind in Real ID implementation. What they're finding at checkpoints, about a 94% compliance rate with people either showing a Real ID issued by a state, a driver's license or state ID card, or other forms of acceptable IDs like a passport or a global entry card, a tribal ID, a military ID. So far, they've not had to pull a lot of people aside for additional screening or to verify their identity. The Secretary also did encourage people to get that Real ID because that is one of the layers of security, she says, that helps them be sure that the people who are flying are who they say they are. And it's one more layer of vetted security built into this system.
All right, Kris Van Cleave, thank you very much for joining us.